Supreme Commander Nixis stood before the grand observation deck of the Archean Confederation's flagship, the Eternal Dawn. Her crystalline form caught the light of distant stars as she processed the impossible data before her. Earth, that troublesome cradle of humanity, had gone completely silent. "Run the analysis again," she commanded, her voice resonating with harmonics that reflected her unease. The ship's quantum processors hummed as they compiled data from thousands of monitoring stations scattered throughout the Sol system. "Analysis complete," Supreme Commander reported First Observer Kale, his bioluminescent patterns pulsing with concern. "All electromagnetic emissions from Earth have ceased. No radio waves, no quantum signatures, no subspace distortions. The planet has become a void in our sensor network." Nix's crystalline structure shifted, creating patterns that her species used to express deep contemplation. For 3 centuries, the Archean Confederation had watched humanity's development with a mixture of fascination and dread. Their technological progression had been erratic, explosive, defying all known models of civilizational advancement. Where other species took millennia to discover quantum mechanics, humans had done it in decades. Their mastery of fusion power had come centuries before predicted. "Contact the Terran liaison office," Nixis ordered. "I want to speak with Ambassador Chen immediately." The silence stretched for several moments before Kale responded. "Supreme Commander, the Terran liaison office on Mars has also gone silent. All human settlements in the Sol system are dark." Nixis moved closer to the observation window, her crystalline form casting prismatic patterns across the deck. 3 billion years of evolution had given her species the ability to perceive quantum states directly, and something about the void where Earth's signals should be felt wrong. It wasn't just silence. It was an absence that seemed almost deliberate. "Prepare the Twilight Seeker," she commanded. "Alert the High Council that I am conducting a personal investigation into this matter. And send word to our deep space monitoring stations. I want to know if this silence is spreading beyond Sol." As her crew rushed to comply, Nixis accessed her species' shared memory crystal, searching through millennia of recorded history for any parallel to this event. The closest match was troubling. The vanishing of the precursors, an ancient spacefaring race that had simply disappeared overnight, leaving behind only their ruins and mysteries. The Twilight Seeker, a stealth vessel equipped with the Confederation's most advanced sensing technology, departed within the hour. As they approached the Sol system, Nixis felt the wrongness growing stronger. Her quantum senses detected patterns that shouldn't exist, ripples in spacetime that seemed to fold back on themselves. "Supreme Commander," called Sensor Officer Vex, their tentacles writhing in agitation. "We're detecting something at the edge of our sensor range. It's as if space itself is being rewritten." Before Nixis could respond, a massive vessel materialized before them. It was clearly of human design, but it incorporated technological principles that should have been centuries beyond their capability. The ship seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously, its hull both solid and ethereal. "Archean Vessel Twilight Seeker," a voice transmitted on all frequencies simultaneously. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. We've been expecting you." Nixis felt her crystalline form vibrate with shock. The transmission hadn't come through any known communication medium. It had simply appeared in their consciousness, as if the words had always been there. "Admiral Chen," Nixis responded, maintaining her diplomatic composure. "Would you care to explain why Earth has gone silent?" A soft laugh echoed through their minds. "Silent? Oh no, Supreme Commander. We haven't gone silent at all. We've simply evolved beyond the need for conventional communication. The quantum realm you perceive, we've learned to inhabit it fully. The dimensional barriers your species has studied for millennia, we've learned to traverse them at will." "Impossible," Nixis stated, but her quantum senses told her otherwise. The humans hadn't vanished. They had transcended the very boundaries of conventional spacetime. "Nothing is impossible, Supreme Commander," Chen replied. You've watched us for centuries, waiting for us to prove ourselves worthy of joining your confederation. Instead, we've discovered something far more significant. The universe is larger than anyone imagined, and conventional space-time is just the surface of a much deeper reality. As Nixis processed this revelation, her sensors detected more human vessels materializing around them, each one existing in that impossible state between dimensions. In 3 centuries of observation, the Confederation had never anticipated this. They had watched humanity's technological progress, measured their military capability, assessed their diplomatic potential, but they had never imagined that humans would simply step sideways out of reality itself. The silence of Earth wasn't a catastrophe or an attack. It was an emergence, a metamorphosis that would forever change the balance of power in the galaxy. And as Nixis stood before this display of human ingenuity, she realized that the real question wasn't why Earth had gone silent. It was what humanity would do with their newfound power. The heart of Earth's Quantum Defense Command buzzed with activity as Admiral Sarah Chen led Supreme Commander Nixis through corridors that seemed to shift and flow like liquid crystal. Human scientists worked alongside advanced AI systems, manipulating holographic displays that showed reality from angles that shouldn't exist. "What you're witnessing," Chen explained, gesturing to the surrounding activity, "is Project Ascendance. 3 decades of secret research into what we call dimensional resonance technology." Nix's crystalline form vibrated with a mixture of awe and concern as she observed humans casually manipulating quantum states that her species had spent millennia just trying to understand. "How did you achieve this level of advancement without detection?" Chen's smile held a hint of pride. "We learned from watching you, Supreme Commander. Your monitoring systems were impressive, but they all operated on conventional physical principles. We simply had to learn to work in the spaces between your sensors." They entered a vast chamber dominated by a massive spherical structure that pulsed with energy that existed in multiple dimensional states simultaneously. Dr. Marcus Wong, Earth's leading quantum physicist, stood before a control panel that seemed to respond to his thoughts rather than physical input. "The breakthrough came when we stopped trying to understand quantum mechanics through mathematics alone," Wong explained, his hands dancing through the air as he manipulated invisible fields. "We discovered that consciousness itself plays a role in shaping quantum reality. Human minds, it turns out, are uniquely suited to perceiving and manipulating these higher dimensions." Nixis processed this information through her species' collective memory crystal. "You've weaponized consciousness itself," she stated, her tone carrying harmonics of both admiration and fear. "Not weaponized," Chen corrected firmly. "Evolved. We're not interested in conquest, Supreme Commander. We're interested in transcendence. The ability to exist in multiple dimensional states isn't just a technological achievement. It's the next step in human evolution." Before Nixis could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. The holographic displays flickered with patterns of disturbance that made even her advanced quantum senses recoil. "Dimensional breach detected in the Proxima Centauri system," announced a calm AI voice. "Unknown entities emerging from subspace." Wang's fingers flew across his control panel. "These readings, they're similar to the anomalies we detected just before we achieved our first dimensional shift. But the scale is massive." Nixis felt her crystalline structure resonate with ancient memories stored deep within her species' collective consciousness. "The Void Weavers," she whispered, harmonics of terror creeping into her voice. Chen turned sharply. "You know what these entities are. They are why we watch your species so carefully," Nixis admitted. "The Void Weavers are ancient beings that exist in the quantum foam between dimensions. Eons ago, they nearly destroyed our civilization. We survived only by retreating into conventional space-time and sealing the dimensional barriers behind us." The holographic displays showed massive distortions spreading through the Proxima Centauri system. Where the anomalies touched, reality itself seemed to unravel. "That's why you monitored our development," Wang realized, his eyes wide with understanding. You weren't just watching for signs of aggression. You were watching for signs that we might be able to fight these entities on their own terms. Nix's form shifted to express affirmation. Your species' unique approach to quantum mechanics, your ability to perceive and manipulate higher dimensions through consciousness itself, these abilities make you uniquely suited to combat the Void Weavers. We hoped you might develop these capabilities, but we never imagined you would progress so quickly. Chen's expression hardened as she watched the dimensional distortions spreading through nearby space. So humanity's evolution wasn't entirely natural. You've been subtly guiding our development, hoping we'd become weapons against these ancient enemies. Not weapons, Nix's corrected, echoing Chen's earlier words. Allies. The Void Weavers are stirring again, stronger than ever. Conventional weapons and technologies cannot harm them, but your dimensional resonance technology, your ability to exist in multiple states of reality simultaneously, these capabilities might give us a fighting chance. The facility shook as another dimensional breach opened, this one closer to Earth. The holographic displays showed more entities emerging from the quantum foam, their very presence causing reality to buckle and warp. How long do we have? Chen demanded, already moving toward the command center. Hours, perhaps days, Nixis replied. They will consume everything in their path, unraveling the very fabric of space-time itself. Wang studied the readings from the dimensional breaches, his mind already racing with possibilities. Our dimensional resonance technology wasn't designed for combat, but perhaps we could modify it. Create a field that would force the Void Weavers to fully materialize in our reality, make them vulnerable. It would require unprecedented cooperation between our species, Nixis observed. We would need to combine your dimensional manipulation abilities with our quantum perception technology. Chen looked between the human scientist and the crystalline alien leader, a grim smile forming on her face. Well then, Supreme Commander, it seems humanity's emergence from silence has come just in time. The question is, are you ready to trust us with the full knowledge of your technology, as we'll have to trust you with ours? As alarms continued to blare and reality itself trembled around them, human and alien stood at a crossroads. The silence of Earth had been broken not by choice, but by necessity, as ancient horrors stirred in the quantum foam between dimensions. Now the future of both species, indeed, of reality itself, would depend on their ability to forge trust from centuries of surveillance and suspicion. The combined command center of Earth's quantum defense force hummed with unprecedented activity. Holographic displays showed reality fracturing across multiple star systems as the Void Weavers continued their advance. Human scientists worked alongside Archon specialists, their different approaches to quantum mechanics creating novel solutions that neither species could have developed alone. Dr. Marcus Wong stood before the dimensional resonance core, its pulsing energies now intertwined with crystalline Archon technology. The merger is stable, he announced, his voice carrying both exhaustion and excitement. We've successfully combined our dimensional manipulation field with the Archon's quantum perception matrix. Supreme Commander Nix's crystalline form shifted through patterns of deep analysis. The integration is more complete than we thought possible. Your consciousness-based approach to quantum mechanics fills gaps in our understanding that we didn't even know existed. That's what makes humans unique, Admiral Chen observed, studying the tactical displays. We don't just solve problems, we redefine them. When faced with an impenetrable barrier, we don't just try to break through it. We look for ways around it, under it, or ways to make the barrier itself irrelevant. The facility shuddered as another dimensional breach opened in a nearby system. The Void Weavers were getting closer, their very presence causing reality to unravel in expanding waves of entropy. We're detecting unusual patterns in the quantum foam, reported Lieutenant Rivera from her sensor station. The Void Weavers, they're not just consuming reality, they're transforming it, converting normal spacetime into something else entirely. Wang moved to examine the sensor data, his expression growing grave. They're not just destroying our universe, he realized. They're converting it into a form of reality that only they can inhabit. Each area they consume becomes part of their domain, incompatible with our form of existence. That's why they couldn't be fought conventionally, Nixis added, her harmonics resonating with ancient memory. By the time we realized what was happening in our first encounter with them, large sections of our galaxy had already been converted. We survived only by retreating to the densest clusters of conventional spacetime and developing technology to shield ourselves. Chen's eyes narrowed as she processed this information. But this time we're not just trying to survive or retreat. This time we're going to fight back. She turned to Wang. How close are we to implementing your theoretical defense? The prototype is ready, Wang replied, gesturing to a device that seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously. By combining our dimensional resonance technology with Archean quantum crystallography, we've created something unprecedented, a way to stabilize reality itself, making it resistant to the Void Weaver's convergent process. But there's a catch, Nixis observed, her form shifting to express concern. Wang nodded grimly. To deploy the stabilization field, we need to establish quantum anchor points throughout threatened space. Each anchor requires a massive amount of energy and, more importantly, conscious operators who can perceive and manipulate quantum states directly. How many operators? Chen asked. Thousands, Wang replied. Each one will need to be connected to the quantum network, their consciousness helping to maintain the stability of local spacetime. It's never been attempted on this scale. Chen turned to the tactical display, where red indicators showed the Void Weaver's advance. We have less than 24 hours before they reach the outer colonies. Can we establish the anchor network in time? With the Archean's help, yes, Wang said. Their crystalline technology can amplify our quantum consciousness link, allowing each operator to stabilize a larger area of space. But, he hesitated. But what, Doctor? Nixis prompted. The process will permanently change the operators, Wang explained. Maintaining the quantum anchor network will require them to exist partially outside normal spacetime, much like our current dimensional resonance technology, but more intense. They'll become living quantum processors, existing simultaneously in multiple states of reality. Chen absorbed this information, her expression hardening with resolve. Put out the call. We need volunteers. Admiral, Nixis began, her harmonics expressing concern. What you're proposing will fundamentally change your species. Those who volunteer will become something new, something neither human nor Archean. We've already changed, Chen replied firmly. The moment we stepped into the quantum realm, we began a transformation. Now we're just going to accelerate it, and with purpose. She turned to address the command center. Humanity spent centuries wondering if we were alone in the universe, hoping to find allies among the stars. Instead, we found watchers, guardians who needed us to become something more. Now we face a threat to all existence, and we have a choice. Remain as we are and face extinction, or evolve into something new and fight back. The command center erupted in activity as the call went out. Across Earth and its colonies, thousands of humans volunteered to undergo the transformation, to become the anchors that would hold reality stable against the Void Weaver's assault. As Wang began preparing the first group of volunteers for the procedure, Nixis approached Chen privately. You should know, the Supreme Commander said, her harmonics pitched for Chen's ears alone, that my species made a similar choice eons ago. Our crystalline form, our ability to perceive quantum states, these were not natural evolutions but conscious choices made in response to crisis. Chen smiled grimly. Then you understand why we must do this. Sometimes evolution isn't just about adapting to survive. It's about choosing to become what the universe needs us to be. Above them, the quantum displays showed the Void Weaver's advance continuing, reality unraveling in their wake. But now, for the first time, points of stability began to appear, quantum anchors maintained by transformed humans, their consciousness spread across dimensions, holding reality together through sheer force of will. The silent revolution that had begun with Earth's disappearance from conventional space was about to become a roar that would echo across all dimensions of existence. Reality itself trembled as the first wave of Void Weavers approached the Proxima Centauri system. The quantum anchor network hummed with the combined consciousness of thousands of transformed humans, their minds spread across dimensions, holding space-time stable against the encroaching chaos. In the command center, Admiral Chen watched through multiple layers of perception as the enemy approached. The transformation of the volunteers had changed her too. Not as dramatically as those who had become quantum anchors, but enough to perceive the true nature of their adversaries. "They're beautiful," she whispered, watching the Void Weavers move through the quantum foam. In a terrifying way. Supreme Commander Nyx's crystalline form resonated in agreement. They are primal forces given consciousness, entities that existed before the universe settled into its current form. They see our reality as a flaw to be corrected, a mistake to be undone. The tactical displays showed the Void Weavers advance in multiple dimensions simultaneously. They moved like living fractal patterns, each movement rippling through layers of reality. But now, instead of reality unraveling at their touch, they encountered resistance, the quantum anchor network forcing them to interact with conventional spacetime. "First contact in 5 minutes," Dr. Wong reported from his station. His eyes glowed faintly with quantum energy, a side effect of working so closely with the transformed volunteers. "The anchor network is holding stable. Reality reinforcement at 98%. Chen nodded, then opened a channel to the combined human Archean fleet. "All ships, battle formations. Remember your training. These entities exist in multiple states. Target all of them simultaneously. The quantum anchors will keep them partially materialized in our reality, but you have to hit every dimensional state at once to cause real damage." The fleet moved into position, each ship equipped with weapons that incorporated both human dimensional resonance technology and Archean quantum crystallography. They were about to attempt something unprecedented, not just defending against the Void Weavers, but actually fighting back. The first Void Weaver emerged into the defended space around Proxima Centauri. It was massive, its true form impossible to comprehend with human senses alone. Through the quantum perception granted by her partial transformation, Chen saw it as a living constellation of possibilities, each point a different state of existence. "Enemy contact," Lieutenant Rivera announced. They're probing the anchor network." The Void Weaver sent tendrils of anti-reality through the quantum foam, testing the defenses. Where these tendrils touched the anchor network, transformed humans fought back with their combined consciousness, forcing the entity to remain partially materialized in conventional spacetime. "They're surprised," Nyxus observed, her harmonics expressing grim satisfaction. "They've never encountered resistance like this before." More Void Weavers emerged from the quantum foam, their presence causing visual distortions even in normal space. But instead of reality unraveling around them, they found themselves forced to interact with it, constrained by the anchor network's stabilizing field. "All ships, engage," Chen ordered. "Fire on my mark." The combined fleet unleashed its first volley. Beams of concentrated quantum energy struck the Void Weavers from multiple dimensional angles simultaneously. The entities recoiled, experiencing damage for the first time in their ancient existence. "Direct hits," Rivera reported. "We're reading dimensional destabilization in multiple targets. The weapons are working." But the Void Weavers adapted quickly. They began to coordinate their attacks, focusing their reality warping powers on specific points in the anchor network. Chen felt the strain through her quantum link as the transformed humans fought to maintain the stability field. "They're targeting the anchors directly," Wong warned, "trying to disrupt the human consciousness maintaining the network." Chen watched as the battle unfolded across multiple dimensions. The Void Weavers were ancient and powerful, but they had never faced an enemy that could fight them on their own terms. The human ability to adapt, combined with Archean technology and the sacrifice of the quantum anchors, had changed the rules of engagement. "Divert power to the anchor network," she ordered. Protection of the quantum anchors is our top priority. Without them, we lose our ability to affect these entities. The battle raged across conventional space and through the quantum foam between dimensions. Ships maneuvered in patterns that defied normal physics, their weapons striking at enemies that existed in multiple states simultaneously. The quantum anchors held reality stable through sheer force of will, their transformed consciousness, the only thing preventing the Void Weavers from unraveling space-time itself. "We're wearing them down," Nixis reported, her crystalline form vibrating with battle readings. "Their attempts to convert reality are being blocked consistently. They're having to expend more energy just to maintain their presence in our space." But victory came with a cost. Several quantum anchors had already burned out, their consciousness overwhelmed by the strain of holding reality stable against the Void Weaver's assault. Each loss weakened the network, forcing the remaining anchors to work harder to maintain the stability field. "Status report," Chen demanded, feeling the strain herself through her quantum link. "Anchor network at 70% capacity," Wang replied. "We've lost 23 anchors, but the network is adapting, redistributing the load. The remaining anchors are evolving, becoming more efficient at maintaining the stability field." "They're not just maintaining it," Nixis observed, her harmonics carrying a note of awe. "They're learning to manipulate it actively. The human consciousness is adapting to its new dimensional existence faster than we anticipated." Through her enhanced perception, Chen watched as the transformed humans began to do more than just hold reality stable. They started to push back, using their quantum consciousness to create zones of hyperstable spacetime that acted as weapons against the Void Weavers. The battle had become more than a test of technology or military might. It was a clash between fundamental forces, between entities that sought to unravel reality and beings who had chosen to transform themselves into its defenders. And as the quantum anchors continued to evolve, adapting to their new existence even in the midst of combat, it became clear that this was more than just humanity's first major engagement with the Void Weavers. It was the emergence of something entirely new in the universe, a hybrid of human consciousness and quantum mechanics that could stand against forces that had previously been unstoppable. The silence of Earth had led not to humanity's extinction, but to its transcendence. 3 months after the Battle of Proxima Centauri, Admiral Sarah Chen stood in Earth's transformed quantum command center, watching reality ripple with new possibilities. The Void Weavers had retreated to the spaces between dimensions, but their defeat had marked only the beginning of a greater change. "The quantum anchors have stabilized," Dr. Wang reported, his eyes now permanently luminescent with dimensional energy. "Their consciousness has fully adapted to existing across multiple states of reality. They're no longer just holding space-time stable. They're reshaping it." Supreme Commander Nixis moved through the chamber, her crystalline form refracting light in new patterns that reflected her own partial transformation. The merger of human and Archean technologies had changed both species in ways none had anticipated. The boundary between normal space and the quantum realm has become permeable. Nixis observed, "Your transformed humans have created something entirely new, a hybrid state of existence where both conventional matter and quantum possibilities can coexist." The tactical displays showed this new reality spreading outward from Earth like ripples in a cosmic pond. The quantum anchor network had evolved beyond its original defensive purpose, becoming a framework for a new kind of civilization, one that existed simultaneously in normal space and the quantum realm. "We've received reports from the outer colonies," Lieutenant Rivera announced. "The transformation is accelerating. More volunteers are undergoing the anchoring process, but it's different now. They're not just becoming quantum processors. They're achieving a true synthesis between human consciousness and quantum mechanics." Chen nodded, feeling the changes through her own enhanced perception. "We had to transform to survive, but now we're transforming because we want to see what's possible." She turned to Nixis. "Your species guided us to this point, hoping we could help fight the Void Weavers. Did you anticipate this outcome?" Nixus's form shifted to express both wonder and uncertainty. We hoped humanity's unique consciousness would allow you to perceive and interact with quantum states directly. But this, she gestured to the displays showing the spreading transformation. You haven't just learned to fight in the quantum realm. You've found a way to unite it with conventional reality. Dr. Wong approached the central holographic display, where streams of data showed the ongoing evolution of human civilization. The quantum anchors aren't just maintaining stability anymore. They're creating bridges between states of existence, allowing normal humans to perceive and interact with quantum phenomena naturally. We're becoming a species that exists in all possible states simultaneously. And the Void Weavers? Chen asked, though she already knew the answer through her quantum perception. They've withdrawn completely, Rivera reported. Our last long-range scans showed them retreating to the furthest reaches of the quantum foam. They can't unmake what we've created. This new hybrid reality is as natural to us as pure quantum states are to them. The command center hummed with energy as more data flowed in from across human space. The silence that had started with Earth's disappearance from conventional detection had become a symphony of transformation. Humanity had not only survived the Void Weavers' attempt to unmake reality, they had transcended it, creating a new form of existence that bridged the gap between the conventional and quantum realms. The Archean Confederation will need to adapt, Nixus said, her harmonics carrying notes of both challenge and anticipation. This transformation, it changes everything. The old power structures, the old ways of thinking about space and time and consciousness itself. Then we'll help you adapt, Chen replied, just as you helped us when you guided our development. This new reality we've created, it doesn't have to be just for humanity. We can show others the way, help them transform on their own terms. Dr. Wong's quantum displays showed the spreading wave of transformation reaching other alien civilizations. Some responded with fear, others with curiosity, but all could see that the universe had fundamentally changed. The barriers between normal space and the quantum realm were dissolving, replaced by a new state of existence that offered possibilities neither realm could achieve alone. When Earth fell silent, Chen mused, watching the transformation spread across the galaxy, everyone assumed it was an ending. Instead, it was the first note of a new symphony, the sound of humanity transcending its limitations and reshaping reality itself. The quantum anchors hummed with power, their transformed consciousness resonating across dimensions. They had become more than defenders against the Void Weavers. They were the architects of a new kind of existence, one that united the infinite possibilities of the quantum realm with the solid certainties of conventional spacetime. The silence of Earth wasn't an end, Nixus agreed, her crystalline form shimmering with new patterns of understanding. It was an evolution, the moment when humanity stepped beyond the boundaries of conventional existence and showed the galaxy a new way forward. Above them, reality itself continued to transform, the boundaries between dimensions becoming fluid and permeable. The Void Weavers had sought to unmake the universe, to return it to a state of pure quantum possibility. Instead, they had forced humanity to create something unprecedented, a reality where all states of existence could coexist, where consciousness itself could shape the fabric of spacetime. The day Earth fell silent had marked the end of one chapter in human history. But in that silence, humanity had found its greatest voice, the power to reshape reality itself, to bridge the gap between the possible and the actual, and to lead the galaxy into a future where the only constant was transformation itself. As Chen watched the ongoing evolution of her species and the reality they now shaped, she understood that this was more than just a victory over ancient enemies. It was the fulfillment of humanity's oldest dreams, to reach beyond the known, to transform limitation into opportunity, and to create something entirely new from the marriage of mind and possibility. The silence had become a song, and its melody would echo through all dimensions of existence for eternity.